Morning, my name is Brenda Bayless-Clapham and I'm here with Karen Coots today, and we're meeting to talk about her house and curb appeal. And the reason why we are talking about the curb appeal of her house is you and I were discussing things that we could do to make it more interesting, and you had some time that you'd like to devote to really jazzing it up. And we came up with some fabulous ideas, but one of the ideas that we came up with was to revitalize your front gardens. And it had been a while since you had paid any much attention to them, and you felt like now was a good time. And because you and I are not landscapers by trade, we didn't really know what there was to choose from to create these fabulous gardens that you were hoping for. So this is the project and some information on what kinds of plants there are for you to choose from for the front of your home. So gardens and curb appeal, why are gardens important? One of the reasons is because there's a sense of pride when you pull up to your house and you have these beautiful luscious gardens. You just think, yeah, this is my place. And for your guests, it feels very warm and welcoming, and people want to go into your home. So they are important. And if you can see the before and after photos, you know, it's a bit scary to top house. There's virtually no gardens. It looks like it's not been attended to. And the bottom looks very warm and inviting. And there's a significant feeling between the two that's important to notice and recognize. So here's a little quiz for you. Which do you feel is more welcoming home? This one or this one? Now, we all want our homes to look like that. And, you know, granted, the other house might be as beautiful as this, but we couldn't tell because there were so many overgrown plants, you couldn't see the house. But this is, you know, a beautiful home, and that's where we are hoping to go with your place. So there's a couple of environmental factors that affect what kind of plants you can have in your yard. One is that you're a zone 3A, which means the plants need to be viable to -40, which is super cold, but the nurseries around your area have the kinds of plants that you can have in your garden. The other one is that your house is on the north side, so your gardens need to have plants in them that are shade tolerant. You wanted the plants to be easy to maintain. You don't have a lot of time, but you like the look of a very luscious garden, which is great. You love the white flowers. You want to keep it fairly monochromatic. The only thing I would suggest to you is that you have some plants that have different textures to make it more visually interesting and stimulating for your eye. And that's good. Oh, and also you wanted to have some structure, which is important for year-round. So there are some plants that are evergreens that stay, they keep their shape through the year. So even though they're not blooming, you know, the flowers aren't blooming, you'll have lots of structure through the winter and the spring and the fall. So I basically narrowed it down to 4 different kinds of plants. There are some hedges, some boxwood and yew hedges, hostas, which are lovely. They have big luscious leaves, hydrangeas, which have super beautiful fat blossoms that are stunning, and some daylilies to get these nice striated shaped leaves. Garden 1, you've got 3 gardens. Garden 1 is along the walkway, garden 2 is under the windows, and garden 3 is in front of the stairs, which is in front of your door, which is the focal point of the gardens. These are the plants for your garden, for garden 1. Some boxwood with some candy tuft along the sides of it to really increase the pop and wow factor. Some hostas you could add if you wanted to for another layer. This is what the layout would look like. I'm going to send this to you after we're done so that you can get the details of this report. This is what your garden would, your walkway would look like, hopefully. Garden 2, under the window, hydrangeas, hostas, and the third level would be daylilies. This is sort of the front view of what it would look like, and this is hopefully what it would look like under the front window of your house. Garden 3 is the one in front of your stairs. It's the one where people are going to have their eye drawn to. I would suggest you do some junipers to really bookend that garden, and a big hosta in the middle to really give it that big pop of wow factor, some daylilies and candy tufts along the front, or some annuals. This is the schematic of it, and this is similar to what it would look like. I couldn't find an exact picture, but you can see there's a big leafy green in front, some hostas, and some evergreens on the edge, and some creepers in the front, which is what candy tuft is. So to finish, the plants that were recommended in this presentation and in the report that you're going to be receiving today are based on the criteria we just talked about earlier, and I would just suggest that you tackle each of the gardens separately, otherwise your yard is going to look like a bit of a bomb zone, which is fine if you want to do all the work, but there's all the work at one time, but you know, it's fairly labor intensive. So again, I would just say pick plants that have different textures to really make it interesting. If you want to add a pop of color, you can add some annuals along the fronts, like begonias or impatiens, and you can use orange or yellows. Try and keep it 1 or 2 colors at the most to get the look that you were discussing with me before, and get busy. And this is a fabulous little poem that says, it is the greatest refreshment of spirits of man, without which buildings and palaces are but gross handiworks. So it's basically saying that there is nothing that can compare to a beautiful garden that we could ever build. And hopefully when you're finished with your garden, your home will look like this. And you'll be so proud of it. Thanks for your attention. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'm here for you. Thanks.